Salute, comrades. This is Behind the Walls Talk with your founder, William McCallum, and I thank you for visiting this domain. I'm here to give you an insight into the minds and hearts of those incarcerated that have been deemed voiceless. Well, this is where their voice and stories will be told for those of you who are concerned with human beings that are in prison for the mistakes they have made and for some of the injustices that were committed against them. Resolutions for reform is the goal and objective looking to be attained. Welcome to Behind the Walls Talk, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure and honor to be here with you today with my guest to conduct this interview. So without further ado...
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
If you will, please, my brother, tell the listeners your name and where you're from.
Hello, my name is Reginald Van Russell, Jr. I am from Suffolk, Virginia.
And Mr. Russell, what were you convicted of, and how much time did they give you?
I was convicted of 2 attempted first-degree murder charges, 2 assault with a deadly weapon with the intent to kill. And
this call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
And 1 first-degree murder charge. I was sentenced to life without parole and 220 months to 273 months.
Life without parole, 220 months to 273 months. God almighty. How long have you not been incarcerated?
I have now been incarcerated since January 31st, 1998.
Do you have any children?
No, I don't. I have a lot of children that I mentor to, though.
Okay, that's right, that's right. Do you have moral and mental support for someone in society?
You say, do I have moral and mental support?
Yeah, for someone in society. And if so, who are they and what would you like to say to them?
Yes, my mother, Deborah, and my father, Reginald, are my biggest supporters. The biggest thing that I feel I would like to say is that I want them to be proud of me. They are my biggest influences for why I am in the process of getting my associate degree in electrical systems technology, which I'm currently enrolled in Robinson Community College.
Okay. So far, what have your prison experience been like?
Honestly, I'm not going to say that I was a mess up or a screw up, but I have done this the hard way. So I've done a lot of years behind the door. Not so much as me being at fault, but how I addressed and handled the situation. So really it should have been a lot easier than the path that I have chose. But being a civilian, just a free-thinking man, it's a lot harder because this is really what I consider the land of negativity.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. There's a lot of negativity around you, man. These walls are full of, how Tupac would say, these walls are full of misery and pain, man. These walls are full of misery and pain. You're definitely right about that. Hey, what's your story on how you grew up as a youth? The experiences you've had, the traumas you may have endured, and what it was that may have led to your incarceration?
I have had an accumulation of trauma events occur in my life, all my life. I was electrocuted at the age of 2 by sticking a pencil in a 220 wall socket. I've seen my first, I shouldn't say first, but I saw a dead body before I was at the age of 5. I grew up in an environment with older, I'm going to say, grandparents that they really showed the only love that they were taught. So I grew up around drinking because as back then they would say it would kill the worms in us. Or it started out to put us to sleep. I grew up, in not a negative place, but just people that didn't know better at that time. I used to see a lot of psychologists growing up. At that time, I didn't know, or at least my parents didn't know, that I was a victim of Agent Orange. So to them, I guess I was just a youth cutting up. But I got arrested from school at the age of 12, and was almost placed in a psychiatric facility. So it's sad as I hate to say it.
Finish.
So I was saying, as sad as I hate to say it, I have lived through a lot of different traumatic experiences. Running away, placed in the group homes and youth centers. It's sad, but I feel like me coming to prison made me a man, because it allowed me to grow up. So now, a lot of the things that I did back then, though I can't explain why I did them, I know the difference in why I shouldn't have done them.
Yeah. Coming to prison,
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Coming to prison gives you that sense of discipline. And that's something that a lot of us didn't have when we was growing up as youths. We didn't have that discipline. We didn't have that guidance. And I would like to ask you a question, though. How did you think the experience of seeing a dead body at the age of 5 took an effect upon you?
At that time, I didn't know, but I really think...
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
That it really weighed heavy on me mentally, because that was one of the reasons why I would never go to any funerals.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to say it back then. I guess I was just too young to know the words. But I think it really affected me a lot.
Yeah, I feel like whenever we see things, because I've seen things, when I was coming up as a youth, those are things, I've seen dead bodies too as well. And I feel like those are things that as a youth that we should have spoken to somebody about. Growing up in the streets and everything, they teach us not to speak about what we see. It's a sort of code of the streets. But there still should be somebody that we should be able to speak to about the things that we do see. Because when we hold those things in, we really don't know how to handle them because we're children. And we don't know how to cope with something like that. But it really takes a big effect upon our lives and how we see things from there forth. It changes you. It takes that innocence away from you. Well, with your experiences as a youth, I would like to ask you, what is it that you would like to say to the youth out there now that are being misled and find a life of crime intriguing, dealing with mental health issues from trauma they've already faced at a young age, and feel as if there's no other way out of their poverty-stricken lives?
I will say that the choices of today affect the futures of our tomorrow. There's an old saying that it doesn't matter where you start at, but where you finish. Prior to coming to prison, I was a high school dropout with no goals or ambitions to apply myself to do better. Having been in prison 27 years now, I have learned that I could have used self-discipline. Had I knew of these other better choices, I didn't have a mentor. I did, however, have positive people, teachers, that tried to socially connect with me. My parents, they tried as well. So I'm not asking to not be like them, So I'm not asking you to not be like me. It doesn't matter if you don't feel as smart as you are, the smartest right now. Practice makes perfect, and eventually you will have it. Believe in yourself, because I believe in you, and I know that you can overcome anything because I did.
That's right. Our children are the future, man. Our children are definitely the future. And we must be there for them, and we must give them that guidance and lead them in the right direction. Show them that we show them the way to go that we should have went when we were younger too as well. Let me ask you this: have you had to deal with the death of loved ones, family, or friends? If so, who were they, and is there anything you would like to say about them or about the impact they've made in your life?
Yes, I have lost a lot of my family, friends, and loved ones during this journey of incarceration. I lost both sets of grandparents, Charlie and George Russell, Lynette Boone and J.P. Falk, and my brother, Roland Russell. He was my youngest, and several different aunts and uncles. What I would really like to tell them is that I love them. I wish that I could have spent more time with them before they moved on to be with the Lord, and that I would forever live my life to show all that I have learned from them, to allow the world to see a reflection of them in me.
That's right. That's right. I like that. I want to go back to something. I want to go back to your experience of when you caught your time. Whenever you caught your time, whenever the judge sentenced you and gave you the time that you have now, what was the experience that you had? What was the feelings that ran through you at that moment?
I really didn't fully understand that I had a life sentence after he gave it to me. And I know that's sad to say, but on the trip from the jail, from the courthouse to the jail, from the jail to CP, Central Prison, the only thing that was going through my mind was, how did I get life? Because I didn't understand the full magnitude.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Of it.
Excuse me, Mr. Russell, will you hold that thought? Behind the Walls Talk will continue. Welcome back to Behind the Walls Talk with Mr. Russell. As you were saying, you were telling me about your experience, what you felt and everything when the judge sentenced you to the time that you have now.
Yes, I really didn't. I guess, because I had what they consider a capital offense, because one of my victims was a town councilman, from beginning to end, it seemed like everything was totally against me. I didn't understand how none of my records, period, whether it be the youth, growing up, my juvenile records, or just anything, would help. It was, this is what you did, and I was wrong. I can promptly admit that I was wrong. But I felt I was doing what I had to do to protect myself because I was tired of being abused. I just didn't know or go about it the right way.
Could you tell me, would you mind elaborating on, like you said you was tired of being abused?
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
My victim was my uncle, and
this call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
He was sexually assaulting me, and I didn't know how to make him stop. So I thought that I was beating him up to make him stop, and in reality, I killed him. Now, I'm not saying that it might have been to the same extent, because I was drunk I was high on drugs, and I was high on prescription medication. So I feel like the combination of everything probably made me do what I did, because that's not nothing that I would have normally done.
Yeah. Was this brought up in the court whenever you was going to trial?
Well, that's the thing. It was mentioned that this individual had other cases against him that he always settled out, but it's like everything was placed under a rug because he was a high-standing citizen in the community. It feels so crazy to this day. I could send a letter to any one of the lawyers or law firms around that vicinity, and all of them will tell me the same thing, that it's a conflict of interest of them taking my case.
And what you say his position was?
He was a town councilman.
Town councilman. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry to hear that happened to you, man.
Well, it gave me a chance to grow.
Yeah.
I feel like God does everything for a reason. So not only have I become a man, but through my experiences, I feel like I can help others.
Yeah, you definitely have a testimony, man. And I'm glad that you gave us this interview, man. And I'm proud that you came out with what you had to say. That you was being truthful and genuine, man. Will you tell the listeners Behind the Walls Talk what a second chance in society would mean to you?
Life is very precious. So to be afforded the opportunity for a second chance at life will really be amazing. Now that I have overcome so many self-defeating character traits and so many physical addictions, not only have I overcome my obstacles in my past, but I have learned how to be a positive, intellectual, motivating person, an asset to any community, company, or corporation. God has shown me how to live. I am a walking, talking man with brain tumors that God has shown not only how to love me, but how to love everybody around me.
Thought about that. Is there any last words you would like to share with the listeners?
Yes, without a God-centered life, a family that can hold you accountable, there is ample room to be mischievous, because the devil will set in. It only took the blink of a drug, alcohol, and prescription medicated eye to get me into more trouble than I could get out of within 27 years. So for every action, there is a consequence. You do not need to follow the path that I did for continuing to make bad choices. Set your mind to break that trend now by getting your mind right.
That's right. Hey, I thank you for this interview, man. This is a very wonderful interview. And me and my wife, we thank you for joining Behind the Walls Talk on this glorious day. And, man, I pray for you, my brother. I'm going to put your interview out there. I'm going to support you. I'm going to do everything I can for you, man. Make sure your words are being heard, because there's a lot of youth out there that needs to hear what you have said today, because there's a lot of youth out there that's going through the same struggles that you went through when you were young. And for all the youth that are listening, for anybody anybody that's going through any type of dramas, any children that's going through any type of struggles in their life similar to this one, take heed of what this brother has said and speak to them. Speak to them. Speak to somebody. Open up. Be truthful. Be honest. Be genuine about what you're going through. Somebody is there to help you. There's somebody for everybody. So I thank you, Mr. Russell. Appreciate you doing this interview with us. And I'm going to make sure that your voice is heard, bro.
I most definitely thank y'all as well. My Opus number is 03.
This call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
0355488. And if there's anything that I can do,
this call is from a North Carolina correctional facility.
Please let me know, because if I could just stop one person from coming to jail or prison, then that means my life was definitely geared for that.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen, from the mouth of Reginald Russell.